Hey, this is John from Alloy 211. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the 48.M or 48 Minta, the Hungarian version of the Soviet M44 carbine. After World War II, the Soviet Union allowed the production of the M44 carbine in a few Warsaw Pact countries, those being Poland, Romania, and Hungary. The example we have in front of us today is the Hungarian version, which was generously loaned to me by a gentleman I work with so we could take a look at it. It was produced by FEG in Budapest from 1952 until 1953, and although we're unsure of the total numbers produced, there are estimates of up to 160,000. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the markings on the receiver ring. So that way if you find one yourself, you'll know what it looks like. There we go. Okay, starting out here at the top, we have a 02, which is the ID, the Warsaw Pact ID number for Hungary. Below that, we have a 1952, the year in which it was produced. Then below that, we have the Hungarian Communist Party symbol, which actually I have to zoom out a little bit. We'll try to see if we can get a better look at that. There we go. I think that looks pretty good. Now it may be hard to tell, but that is a hammer crossed with a wheat shaft, surmounted by a star, and circled by a crest of wheat. As you can see, a lot of cereal grain symbolism there, because food is one of the most important things in life. And then below that, we have the serial number. And while we're here, we'll take a bit of a look at the front sight. Typical M44 style front, or back sight, not front sight. Now moving a little further down here, we'll take a look at the bolt. So the markings on it. Now this is kind of interesting, as this mark here and this mark here, probably from a distance, really looks like the Ishevsk arsenal mark from Russia, but it's actually the Romanian mark. So this bolt is actually a Romanian bolt in a Hungarian gun. I'll go ahead and open her up. We have an X here on the bolt head. I'm not sure what that X means, so if you know, go ahead and comment below and let me know. And we will pull it out just so we can take a closer look at those Romanian markings. If we can get her to focus for us. Zoom out a bit. There we go. Now if you look, that looks a lot, like I said, like the Ishevsk arsenal mark. I think I'm pronouncing that right. But let me go ahead and grab a bolt with that mark. Now this is the bolt out of my Russian M44, which is kind of hard to tell, but that is a little arrow in a triangle. Let me grab this one. Whoa. See if I get them in frame beside each other. There you go. Now it may be hard to tell that there's a difference, or much of a difference, but there is. There we go. You can tell that there is a difference between the two arrows inside that triangle. This being the Romanian, and this being, oh, way out of focus, the Russian. See, it's the mark. I think this mark here is actually a little easier to see. It is. You know, so you can see the whole shape of the arrow there, where you can see the arrowhead and the feathers, the fletching on the back of the arrow inside the triangle. Whereas on the Romanian, it just appears to be an arrowhead without any of the fletching. So that's the way to tell them apart. And while we have them here also, look at how much finer that knurling is on that Romanian cocking piece than the Russian one. You know, Romanians, they make some really nice stuff. Anyway, let's go ahead and throw this bolt back in the gun. Move back down the stock a bit. Okay, here down on the back we have a B for Budapest and the 02 again for Hungary. Now the serial number on the buttstock matches the serial number on the receiver ring and on the floor plate of the magazine. So other than the bolt, all the numbers do match on this rifle. Go ahead and zoom out just a tad. We'll take a look at the bayonet and the front sight on this. Now this has the late 1948 version of the Russian M44 or the Soviet M44 carbine's bayonet mount, which is the double-eared, and it has the wide front sight of the 1948 model M44. So it appears that this rifle is pretty much based off of the 1948 model of the M44. Now let me go ahead and grab my M44 that I happen to have nearby, and we'll actually look at some of those differences up close. Now, if you look at the receiver here, so you know what, for your benefit, I'll go ahead and flip these over. So one nice thing about carbines, they don't really take up a lot of space. Okay, now, if you see here on our Hungarian version of the M44, this is the 1948 style, as it has the low receiver wall, which has been cut down compared to the 1944. This is a change that they made in late 1945 on the Russian M44 carbines. So it's mimicked on the 48.M. Now, if we move up to the bayonets, as you can see, the 1944 version of the Russian or the Soviet rifle only has a single ear, whereas the Hungarian version has the 1948 double-eared version. And actually, while we're here, one thing I did notice that, I mean, I'm not saying that this is indicative of the other Hungarian rifles, but when you compare the back sight on the Hungarian rifle compared to the Russian, this is cocked to one side. So I mean, there's some quality control issues on that one compared to the Russian one, although this has very little wear on it compared to the Hungarian one. Something to be noted, a lot of these Hungarian rifles will show a lot of finish wear. Very few of them will be arsenal refurbished, and most of them will have a lot of wear, just so you're aware that they'll have a lot of wear. Okay, let's go ahead and look at the front sights. Maybe. If we can get this side to focus. Focus. I guess I could yell at it a bunch, but that's probably not going to help. Okay, well, there we go. Now, as you can see, we have our Russian and our Hungarian. And the Hungarian 48.M has the wide front sight base of the later M44s. This 1944 version has the narrow version of it. So those are just a few of the differences between the original 1944 version and the Hungarian 48.M or 48 Minta. And like I said, overall, when you find these rifles, they will be pretty worn. That doesn't mean that they're not shootable or they're not good rifles. It just means that they've seen a lot of service. And something I noticed on this rifle, which if we can get it to focus again, kind of hard to get some of this stuff. Now this is the import mark, and right here it's stamped, which you can kind of see it, M44. So if you see one of these, someone might be selling it as just your standard Russian M44 carbine, not knowing that it's a Hungarian version. And there are a lot fewer of the Hungarian and other Warsaw Pact country versions of the M44 carbine. So if you see this and it's being sold at a price that's reasonable or relatively the same as a Russian M44, I would probably pick it up, because there aren't as many of these and there probably won't be as many around. So anyway, if you enjoyed the video and you found it informative, I'd really appreciate it if you gave it a like. If you watch some of my other videos, you enjoy those too, I'd appreciate if you subscribed. Thanks, and have a great day.